History remembers emperors as powerful, untouchable, almost godlike. But some stories are so disturbing they feel unreal. Because one Roman emperor didn't just lose his wife, he tried to replace her. Not with another woman, but with a boy. And what he did to make that happen was so shocking that even in ancient Rome, a world already filled with brutality, it stood out. The emperor was Nero, a ruler known for excess, cruelty, and unpredictability. And the woman he lost was Poppaea Sabina. By many historical accounts, Nero was deeply obsessed with her. But that obsession ended in tragedy. Ancient writers claim that during a violent outburst, Nero struck Poppaea while she was pregnant. She died soon after. Whether every detail is perfectly accurate or not, what followed is what truly shocked even the Romans. Because Nero didn't just grieve, he tried to recreate what he had lost. Not emotionally, physically. Soon after, a young boy named Sporus entered his life. Sporus was said to resemble Poppaea, and that resemblance changed his fate forever. Nero gave an order that stripped Sporus of his identity. He was castrated, not for survival, not for punishment, but to transform him into something he was never meant to be. Sporus was dressed like an empress, given fine clothing, jewels, and status. He was renamed, repositioned, and then Nero married him. In a public ceremony, with witnesses, with rituals, as if Rome itself was expected to accept the illusion. But beneath the spectacle was something deeply unsettling, because this wasn't just about grief. It was about control, absolute control, the kind of power where a ruler could reshape reality, force a person into a role, and expect the world to go along with it. And in Rome, many did. Not because they agreed, but because they had no choice. Nero's reign was already marked with fear, executions, paranoia, public displays of dominance. So when he presented Sporus as his wife, no one dared challenge it. But this moment revealed something deeper about Imperial Rome. Power wasn't just political, it was personal. It reached into people's lives, their bodies, their identities, and it could reshape them completely. For Sporus, life became a performance he never chose. He was expected to act like Poppaea, to exist as her replacement, to live inside someone else's shadow. And that kind of existence was its own kind of prison. But the story doesn't end there. Because after Nero's rule began to collapse, everything changed again. When Nero died, the empire didn't stabilize immediately. It fell into chaos, a period known as the Year of the Four Emperors. And in that chaos, Sporus didn't find freedom. He was passed from one powerful man to another, used, displayed, controlled. First taken by a man named Otho, then later falling into the hands of others who saw him not as a person, but as a symbol, a reminder of Nero's strange and disturbing legacy. At one point, there were even plans to force Sporus into another public role, to reenact mythological scenes for entertainment, to once again become something he was not, something forced upon him. But this time, there was resistance, because eventually Sporus chose death rather than continue living a life controlled by others. And that ending says everything, because while Nero's story is often told as one of madness and excess, Sporus' story is different. It's about what happens when power goes too far, when a human being is reduced to an object, when identity is taken and replaced with expectation. Ancient Rome was no stranger to cruelty, but even by its standards, this story stood out, not just because of what Nero did, but because of what it revealed. That absolute power doesn't just control nations, it controls people. their choices, their bodies, their lives, and sometimes it tries to rewrite reality itself. But reality always pushes back, and in the end, even emperors fall. But the lives they change,